Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. All right, people, what's going on? Coming at you live. I don't know why today I had the urge to say, we're on air. I don't know why, but we're on air. So, welcome. Episode 12. You guys, I kind of can't get over this. This is kind of a lot of episodes. Isn't this exactly 3 months? 12 divided by 4, 3, math. 3 months? That's a long time to be... I don't know. Anyways, you guys, I have the weirdest, most random story to start off with, but I'm baffled and I'm also vlogging today, so I told the vlog, but you guys know I love all my jewelry and I wear the same rings all the time, and when I tell you one has genuinely evaporated off my finger, it has evaporated off my finger. I have no clue where it is. And let me tell you, because I had to take photos today for something, and I noticed in the photo, afterwards, I was like, yo, where's that ring? And by the way, it's the ring that I wear on my left hand middle finger. It's the bright blue flower wrap ring, which I absolutely love. I got it at an antique show, and I was like, oh my gosh, the ring's gone. And so I was like, oh no, did it fall off there when I was taking the photos? But I went to the first photo and I still didn't have it on then. I was like, okay, so did I have it before I got there or whatever? When was the last time I had it? So then I looked at the footage from this morning of me vlogging before I went to take photos, and it wasn't on my finger. When I had just woken up, I hadn't really even left my room yet. And I noticed that the ring wasn't on my finger, but I didn't notice then. And then I was like, oh no, did I leave it at the gym yesterday or something? Looked at footage from yesterday. I had the ring on still after the gym. And so now basically I know that I had it from after the gym, which I didn't really go anywhere after the gym yesterday, but it was gone as of this morning. And so I'm you guys, it's to the point where I wouldn't be shocked if the only reasonable explanation at this point is that someone came in my room last night and took the ring off my finger. That's how much it's just gone. I ripped my bed apart. I looked in my pillowcases. I looked in the sweatshirt that I was wearing. It's nowhere to be found. It literally is just gone. I'm not kidding. It's gone. I went to my friend's house last night, so I'm going to ask her if she noticed if I was wearing it or not, or if it's there. But I don't understand how a ring would just fall off my finger. And the only thing also I could think of is sometimes I'll sometimes I'll wake up half in between sleeping and not, and I'll take out my earrings if they're bothering me or something. So I wonder if I took it off in my sleep. But I'm baffled and it beats me, and now I'm on a freaking scavenger hunt about to call in the troops because it's just gone, and I'm so upset about it. But I have a feeling it's not gone. But if it is, it's just it's just meant to be. Since I wear the same rings and same jewelry all the time, I kind of have them have their own life cycle. So if I lose one or it breaks, I'm okay, it's just time to replace it with another piece of jewelry. And that's the life cycle of my jewelry that gives me peace. So if that is what it is and I can't find it, then I guess it's just time to get another ring. But I'm just confused because I kind of don't feel like it's time. I just feel she's lost. I feel she wandered away from home and is now getting worried, and I need to go find her. But anyways, so for my gratitude for today, I actually really felt this last night. Actually, when I was driving back from my friend's house where I was, it really hit me. And I just am really thankful lately that I know the things that make me happy, that I can hear my soul's calling, and that I can feel the uni and my intuition. And granted, I am 100% still working at this every day to hear the uni more clearly, and same thing, be more in tune with my intuition as much as I can. It's still always a work in progress every day, but I really just, I was reminded yesterday how much progress I have made and how much I do feel the uni or God or whatever you want to name it as, or, spirit is with me. I do really feel it's with me, and it gives me so much peace. And not only because I feel I have a comfort of another entity, not only that, it's just I just feel like I can feel my own soul's compass and like guidance, because I always feel like the uni and God and spirit and source is within us. So it's not necessarily, I don't really always feel like there's someone there helping me. It's like I just am back to myself, my core, just my core, I guess is what I want to say it as. And that is like my compass that's guiding me. And I just am really thankful that I can feel that, because I feel like it helps me feel at peace with my life. I feel genuinely happy. I feel like I don't feel directionless. I don't feel lost. Like I feel like I have this really weird sense of unwavering hope, faith, trust, support, comfort in a way. But again, not comfort like I feel like I have someone there, like as a, what's the word, to like fall back on, like a safety net. It's like I just feel this piece of like this like trust, like almost like in myself and just in the way life works. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm just really, really thankful for that lately. And it actually weirdly ties in kind of to what this episode is. But if you guys don't know, I got The Alchemist a few days ago. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I am so freaking close to my closet right now because the lighting is so whack that I had to keep pushing the desk further and further back. So like it's really close quarters right now, but it is what it is. But anyways, I got The Alchemist, which also, you guys, can I just say I'm proud of myself because this is the fastest, like genuinely, I think ever in my life I've ever read a book. I got this not even 2 weeks ago, except I put that on my Instagram story and I just got a message and someone was like, I finished that in 2 days, which I'm like, honestly, props. I didn't even know someone could read a book that fast, so props for 2 days. Took me about 2 weeks, but what, pretty much the same thing. But anyways, I don't know what, I just like, it felt really nice to read like a story, because usually I read like kind of self-help books, so I really loved the dynamic of like reading through a story. It was so much easier for me to read, and like I think that's why I read it so much faster than normal. But regardless, I was reading a part the other day and it really like sparked something in my mind. Basically just sparked this whole episode, and I was like, wait, that would be great to talk about all of those sorts of things. So I'm going to read it to you because like why not, and who doesn't love book club vibes these days. So quick background on The Alchemist to give you some sort of context. Like it's all about this boy who goes on like this whole entire voyage, this journey to go to try to find a treasure. And it's kind of, the book refers to something called your personal legend, or essentially kind of like how people would say like your purpose to fulfill during your time on earth. It's kind of that, like what his purpose is, what his soul mission is while he's here on earth. And they refer to that as a personal legend, which I really love. And it just had some really great lessons in here. I'm going to end up doing like a mini review / Livfiit Spark Notes on my Instagram. So stay tuned for that at Livfiit if you don't follow me. But, I felt like there was just some great lessons in here, especially at the end about like truly listening to your heart and like listening to your soul's calling, like kind of what I was talking about earlier, and kind of just like what you genuinely want to do with your time here on earth. And I want to read you this segment because it kind of illustrates how like everyone truly does have that kind of urge, that soul calling of like, what do you actually genuinely want to be doing with your time on earth here? And it just speaks about how like it is so ignored, honestly. So it says, so his heart was quiet for the entire afternoon. That night the boy slept deeply, and when he awoke, his heart began to tell him things that came from the soul of the world. It said that all people who are happy have God within them, and that happiness could be found in a grain of sand from the desert, as the alchemist had said, because a grain of sand is a moment of creation, and the universe has taken millions of years to create it. Everyone on earth has a treasure that awaits him, his heart said. We, people's hearts, seldom say much about those treasures because people no longer want to go in search of them. We speak of them only to children. Later, we simply let life proceed in its own direction towards its own fate. But unfortunately, very few follow that path laid out for them, the path to their personal legends and to happiness. Most people see the world as a threatening place, and because they do, the world turns out, indeed, to be a threatening place. So we, their hearts, speak more and more softly. We never stop speaking out, but we begin to lose hope that words won't be heard. We don't want people to suffer because they don't follow their hearts. Why don't people's hearts tell them to continue to follow their dreams? The boy asked the alchemist. Because that's what makes a heart suffer most, and hearts don't like to suffer. From then on, the boy understood his heart. He asked it, please, never to stop speaking to him. He asked that, when he wandered far from his dreams, his heart press him and sound the alarm. The boy swore that every time he heard the alarm, he would heed its message. And so there's a few different things I want to touch on in that passage. So, essentially was saying how like everyone has their heart always has like a pull for them and like tries to, pull them towards a direction where they truly feel called in their purpose. But the sad thing is like people don't always listen to it. And then the heart kind of stops making that, pull and that calling, it stops making that call being so loud because people are just ignoring it anyways. And that's what he was saying, that like that's what causes the most suffering. Of like, if you know that, like how so many people just lie to themselves, but like if you can hear loud and clear of like what your soul is pulling you to do and you're just not doing it, obviously that's going to cause suffering because it's going to cause unhappiness. It's going to cause unalignment, misalignment within you. And so that's kind of why it was saying like the heart just ends up kind of getting muted the older you get, as you stop and the farther away you get from pursuing your passions or quote unquote your personal legend. And I just kind of thought this was like a great reminder and kind of wake up call. And I don't want to like put pressure on it like, oh, we have this one purpose while we're here on earth that like we need to fulfill. But I do truly feel like we are here to truly like pursue our true passions. And so many people like just don't. And again, this kind of goes back to like, if you watched last episode where I kind of talked about free will versus destiny and which I believe. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, like, especially when it says here, like, but unfortunately, very few follow the path laid out for them, the path to their personal legends and to happiness. That's kind of what I was talking about last episode, how I personally feel like there's the highest, like a road of highest alignment with our truest, most authentic selves. And that's what I feel like is referred to here when they said the path to your personal legends and to happiness. I feel like that's when we are our truest, like our genuine most joy that we can feel, because when we're truly listening to our hearts and pursuing our passions, like that is when we are in alignment with our true selves, our highest selves. And like that's what creates peace within our soul, within our being, and just like energetically. And it just, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to talk about this because I just want to like remind everyone and empower everyone to incorporate the things that you truly love. And I'm not saying like your passion needs to be your full-time thing, your full-time job, your gig, like what you do in life. I'm not saying it even has to be that. I'm just like wanting to like kindly invite you to make sure you're incorporating those things into your life, because also this is so valid. Like plenty of people will work their normal 9 to 5, but then use that to be able to fund their passion projects, which is amazing. And I love that too. And it has its own place. So I don't want to like also make this seem like you have to drop everything and only pursue your life passion. I'm not saying that like it's going to look completely different for everyone, but I just really want to call you guys like to truly make sure you're, creating the time and putting in the effort for yourself and therefore for the collective around you, that you are doing the things that feed your soul. Because I feel like that's when, we truly are all the are the happiest. Feel like I keep stuttering today. But like so many people just don't, because of fear, because of judgment, or because they just feel like it's kind of like, what's the point? Or they feel like they're undeserving. Again, all of this stuff is the ego creeping back in, which I feel like I bring up every single episode now. But the thing is like, I also want to read another passage in here, because what's funny is like this is why it's like snowballs, and why it's like I want to really bring this episode to you guys to kind of like, shake you if you need the shake, because it's kind of snowballs. It's like what it was saying, when the more you don't listen to your heart, the quieter it becomes and the harder it becomes to hear, because you keep pushing it away and away and away. And then the thing is the same thing when you have fear. It's harder again for you to listen to your heart, because you're just completely acting out of a space of fear. And this is literally what it says in the book. It says, "Don't give in to your fears," said the alchemist in a strangely gentle voice. "If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart." And I loved that too, because it's so true. It's like so often we let our fears get in the way of things and block us and prevent us from doing things. But if anything, like it's only holding us back even more, because that's what's creating a wall and a blockage with our heart, with our intuition, with our soul's calling. And it just is a complete disservice to who you are. And it just creates even a bigger, stronger wall between like who you actually are, you know what I mean? And like a bigger divide within yourself, instead of letting all of those pieces of you blend together and become, your highest self of like who it truly wants to be when it's completely in alignment. And another little passage that I want to read, which like on the contrary, the beautiful part of this whole thing is like when you truly are in alignment with your soul's purpose and pursuing your passions and doing things you love and acting authentically and like doing what you truly want to do, beautiful things happen. And that's when life gets easy. And that was, again, even said in this book, which I will read. Near the very end, it said, "It's true. Life really is generous to those who pursue their personal legend," the boy thought. And it's just crazy because it's so true. Because like, honestly, from personal experience, I can relate to that quote, because it's like when I felt like when I wasn't doing the things that I genuinely loved, or like back in the day when I really struggled with Livfiit and I would like really, you guys know, I would struggle with self-doubt. I would go through phases where I just wouldn't post on Livfiit. I wouldn't pursue Livfiit because I was like, this isn't going to work, etc. Like I can't do it. And then I would separate it from a while. Like I would feel so unfulfilled, genuinely so sad. Like I would get in just these lulls, this hazes for like so long. And at first I didn't understand why. And I came to realize it's because I wasn't pursuing the thing that genuinely lit me up in life. And it's just, you know what I mean? Like nothing, when you're like truly pursuing what you feel called to do, like life genuinely feels magical because you are in alignment. Like it sounds like so, I don't know, simple, but like that, like life truly is simple when you let it be. And like I think the reason why it feels so hard all the time and complex is because so many people are living out of alignment, because they're not living authentically, they're not following their truth, they're not doing what they're passionate about, they're not listening to their intuition, to their soul's calling, they're not doing what they genuinely want to do, even if they're not good at it right now, or you know what I mean, because they're scared of judgment or what people are going to say, or because it doesn't look cool so they're not going to do it. It's like all these things. It's like when you're living like that, like of course it's going to feel hard because you're generally out of alignment. It's like when you have those two opposite ends of a magnet and you're trying to get them to come together and they just like literally keep repelling each other and they can't come into union. Like that's what it feels. That's what happens literally internally when you're living that way. You're living out of alignment. So you're going to feel uneasy in this unrest within you. But when you're living like authentically in alignment with your soul's calling, pursuing your passions, all of those things, that's when you can flip the trainer. I keep seeing those. I don't know if you guys had those, but growing up we had like this little train set. I honestly think it was my brother's and like a little train track and stuff, but you would link the trains with they were magnetic, so you would link them with a magnet, and that's what I'm visualizing right now. But when you flip the train around and have the other end of the magnet and it comes together like and they're attracted towards each other and it's perfect union and they're in alignment, that's what again happens internally when you're living in your soul's purpose and your soul's truth and you're listening to your heart. And then that's why you can feel like true genuine joy and happiness on the inside when you're living that way. And like I truly feel like that's what roots from depression, anxiety, all that sort of stuff. When you're like living out of alignment, it literally causes a genuine energetic misalignment within you, feeding that depression and anxiety, etc. But when you are in alignment, it creates so much more peace within you. And that's when things start to flow, because you're at just a higher frequency, because you're more in alignment with your higher self and you're just in alignment with your higher path, and you're in a place where there's least resistance. You're in a place where things flow because you're going with the current of your soul. That sounded so unnecessarily deep, but it's true. Like you have to surrender to the current of your soul and your soul's calling. And so many people don't do that. Like I listed previously, they're trying to swim upstream. And that's why it feels so hard and not, enforced and not magical. And like you're trying so hard because you're trying to swim upstream. So that's why I just like love this message of the book. It's kind of just like fall surrender to yourself, who you are, and just follow that, where you're going, listen to your heart. And like, that's when things are going to be easy. That's when things are just magical. And that's when things just truly happen for you, as crazy as it sounds, but it's because that's what's meant to be. That is just the flow that you're meant to be in this lifetime. And then I saw something on Instagram, which also like completely sparked this whole idea for this whole episode. It said, "You are who you choose to be." And I loved that. And I feel like it perfectly ties into this as well, because again, so many people just kind of float through life and just kind of go where society tells them to go, or just do what the safe path is, or go where their mom said them to go, or do what's normal in society, all this sort of stuff, and just like kind of accidentally end up somewhere just because they kind of were going through the motions and doing what they thought societal's path was for them. And they just kind of like end up in some situation and kind of just fall, whether they realize it or not, or even are upset about it or not, or playing victim to it or not, they still just kind of fall victim to their circumstances and environment and just kind of like, this is who I am because I just kind of got here. And I've never believed that. I realized this kind of when, honestly, probably, I don't know, when I was in my teens, where I was like, I'm going to create the person that I want to become. And it's kind of like going hand in hand with this whole thing where it's kind of like you decide if you want to follow your soul's purpose and who you feel like your highest self and like path of highest alignment, what that would look like. You decide if you want to pursue that and follow your heart and follow your passions, or you also decide if you just kind of want to float through whatever the safe option is, whatever the case may be. And I just can't reiterate it enough. Like, you truly do have the power to become any person that you want to be. You do have the power to fulfill your life's potential by, you know, being in alignment with your true soul's calling, or you also have the choice just to kind of float through and do what everyone else is doing. And I kind of wanted to talk about how I kind of got here, if you will, because it wasn't on accident. And again, you guys know I started this when I was about 17 years old is when I got into weightlifting when I was about 16 and a half. Started this page when I was 17, I think, I want to say. I was still in high school. And I saw like these amazing women on social media, and I was like, that's who I want to be, because they were super strong, they were super capable in the gym, they looked amazing, and they were wicked successful business owners. And they were so they impacted my life so much clearly, because here I am, and I was like, that is so cool that job has that much meaning and impact and can touch so many people's lives. And I loved that, and I was mesmerized by everything. And I was fascinated by these women because I was like, they were so powerful physically, but also powerful in the sense of how they're impacting people and the message they're sharing and how moving their message is. And I loved that. And I'm not kidding. Like, again, I've been at this for 5-6 years now, since that point of cultivating the person I am. But like, I have been intentional with the person that I am in every little, genuinely every sense of the self, like in terms of how I read, how I take care of my mind, what my hobbies are. I think, and hear me out here, I'm not saying that like if there's something I completely had no interest in, I'm going to go force myself to like gymnastics. Obviously, like that's just, it's not me, but that's not in alignment with my true purpose. But I'm saying like, I had these innate little urges and curiosities and mini fascinations with all of these things I'm into now, which is reading, journaling, meditating, still exercising, longboarding, snow skiing, all this sort of stuff. All of those things that make me who I am. Like, if I didn't listen to those curiosities, actually I'm going to forget the quote, but in one of my meditations that I do, it's a guided meditation on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it says curiosity is a soft form of magic. I loved that. I'm going to say it again. Curiosity is a soft form of magic. I love that, and it's so true. And that's what I mean when those are like little those are nudges from our soul, from our higher selves, from our highest life path, where it's like, obviously, if we were just born with being really good at everything that we like, or know all of the things that we really like, or have already mastered all the things we like, life would be boring. Like, I truly think life is the process, right? It's all about the process, the journey. So part of the journey is uncovering and discovering these mini treasures, kind of like the Alchemist, of these things that light our soul on fire and things that we actually like and our interests and stuff. And like finding all of these little pieces, I think, is what creates us overall as humans, as we like completely shape and refine and like come full circle with who we are. Like, I guess, like, gathering each facet of like who we are as individuals. And basically, I'm just trying to say, like, me listening to those nudges, those soul's callings of being like, ooh, reading is interesting. I kind of been wanting to, like, self-help books really interest me. Like, maybe I should actually pick a book up and like listen to that urge and pursue that urge and see how I like it. All that sort of stuff, like, that has built me into who I am today. And like, it's crazy, and I don't mean this in like a conceited way or like a bragging way, but like, doing what I'm doing now, like, this was completely intentional to get to this point. Like, the person I am today is because I made a conscious decision to become this person in every way, whether that being choosing to act on a nudge that I had of some sort of curiosity, of some interest that I thought that I would really like, or, putting in the discipline and the work to like, put in the repetition to create these habits of someone that I would want to be, you know what I mean? And so it just truly is a choice to be the person that you are. And I think that this also ties back to self-love again, which I wanted to talk about this in the previous episode, which I forgot when I was answering a question about self-love. But like, I think it also really ties back to self-love too, of like, how do you find self-love? Why is it so hard for people, etc.? It's like, again, because I don't think that a lot of people, and I feel like this is sounding negative. I don't like it when people talk like negatively on human population, but like kind of like, I feel like the vast majority, just in truth of my observation, are kind of unintentional with the person they are. They're not putting in the work to like, become someone who they respect, who they admire, who they want to be. Like genuinely, like I'm serious. When I was 17, I saw these people and I was like, that is someone who I think is freaking sick, admirable, respectable, cool, and dope. Like I want to be that person. Like I would be proud to be that person. And so that's what I did. I sought after, I said, okay, what does it take to become that person? What does that person who I want to be, what would her day-to-day look like? What would her habits look like? What would her discipline look like? All of those sort of things. And like, I have put in the work for the past 5 years to like genuinely, authentically, evolve and grow myself into that person. And again, back to what I'm saying, because the person that I think are all those attributes, someone else might not think that person is those attributes. They might think that an Olympic horseback rider is someone who's cool, admirable, etc. Then that's your soul's calling urge that you need to listen to, and that's why you feel that in your heart, because that's your personal legend, or your highest life path and like path of highest alignment, etc. It's gonna look different for everyone. But like putting in the work to become the person that I respected, like I feel like that's why it's so much easier, I want to say, for me to love myself in a way, because it's like I have intentionally put in the work to become the person that I love. You know what I mean? Like it sounds weird, but like I do admire myself. I love, and I mean that in the less conceited way. I don't mean like, oh, I admire myself in the mirror. I just mean like I respect who I am. I think I'm truly a cool individual because and again, I didn't get here on accident. Like I have put in the work because I wanted to be someone who I thought was cool, admirable, and respectable. And I think that when you put in that work and are intentional with who you are, it is so much easier to have that love, respect, and self-worth because you've molded into someone who you think has all of those things. You know what I mean? So I think that goes such a long way. And I think that there's so much power in that. And we all hold so much power in that. And I just feel like so many people, again, fall victim or like, oh, this is just who I am. This is how I am. This is who I was raised. Like, oh, it's just my personality. Like, you don't have to say like, you're just late. That's just the way you are. You're a late person, which I'm notorious for saying that. You don't have to fall victim to saying like, oh, I'm just a shy person. It's just who I am. Or, oh, I'm not an active person. It's just not who I am. You're not that person because you're telling yourself you're not that person. And you have never put in any effort to make the change. Everything we do as humans is simply just an accumulation of patterns that have turned into habits. That's all it is. We can constantly change. Like, it sounds crazy because we think personalities are just innate and we're born with it, which there is a lot of validity to that. But there's also we hold so much power and freedom to morph and change into someone who we genuinely want to be. But that's the kicker. You have to genuinely want it truly for you and your authentic spirit. Like it has to feel true to you. And again, what I was saying, like that is going to be like part of your life's purpose is to evolve and to, adopt that new character trait as part of your own life's journey and what you're meant to learn while you're here on earth. I hope this is kind of making sense, but that's like how I see it. It's like if I have this calling, like for example, I had this calling to be someone who was more disciplined, and like, I think truly like that's part of like what I'm meant to learn here on earth is like go through the learning actual process of what it's like to develop that habit and like, adopting that new character trait of being someone who's more disciplined, which I have learned over the years. And I've gone through that lesson and now here I am. And how like I'm saying, like you get to choose who you are. Like it's not like in an inauthentic way. It's actually the opposite. It's kind of tying back to this whole episode. It's you listening to that soul's calling, to your truth, to your like life purpose, to actually step into your higher self and to step into like your potential and maximize your potential as a human being like on this planet. And that's kind of what I was talking about last episode when I feel like, yes, it's kind of fate, but more so I feel like we're here to go through the journey of evolving into our higher self and our higher potential, and listening to our heart, listening to our passions, listening to our soul's calling is what is going to get us there. It's what's going to allow us to fulfill that potential and become into alignment with our highest selves while we're here. And before we go, I want to read you this last passage because I think I just again thought it was a beautiful lesson and a beautiful message, because I have been at Livfiit for so long, for years, and I'm finally like in a place where it's actually becoming my job like I've always wanted it to. And there's an image that had been circling around on Instagram. I haven't seen it in so long, but it was like basically an image of this guy like kind of chipping, like digging in the ground, I guess. And one man like turned around right before he had like 2 more digs, and there was like the jewel right in the ground, but he turned around right before because he was like, I haven't found anything, I'm leaving. When really sometimes it's just that last extra push to, achieve your dreams and achieve your accomplishments, etc. And I just feel like this is such amazing words of encouragement. It also refers to like a dream kind of as like your soul's purpose and like your personal legend kind of. So it says, what you still need to know is this: before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does this not because it is evil, but so we can, in addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons we've learned as we moved towards that dream. That's the point at which most people give up. It's the point at which, as we say in the language of the desert, one dies of thirst just when the palm trees have appeared on the horizon. Every search begins with beginner's luck, and every search ends with the victors being severely tested. The boy remembered an old proverb from his country. It said that the darkest hour of the night came just before the dawn. That just gave me the chills, and I loved that so much because it's so freaking true. And it's just like, above anything with this episode, you guys, like, I just want to I want this to be your sign to do the freaking thing you've always been curious about or had a call to do, or to, change your life if you're not happy with it, if you feel like you're doing stuff that you couldn't give a shit about, or if you feel like you're living so far out of alignment. Like, let this episode be your sign to make a change. You have the power, you have the capability, you have the resources. If there's a will, there's a way, and like, you can do it. And I know that like fear gets in the way and all this sort of stuff, but like that is just the ego. And what that passage outlines so beautifully is like, that's the point. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. You're not gonna, like, let's say you're in a job that you hate and you feel like you actually have this plan of how you can, live out your passion. It's not going to be this perfect, A to B to C to D, like this perfect story where it just works out. Like, it's going to be hard. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be troubles. There's going to be obstacles, but that is the beauty of it all. That's the whole point. And that's just the way life works. And that's how, you have to go through that so that when you actually get to the point of being able to live out your soul's purpose and your calling and whatever that case may be, like just a life of true alignment and joy and peace and fulfillment, that is going to be the best reward, the best treasure of going through that difficult road. Like, that is the whole point. And like, I loved that passage because it was so encouraging to say, like, when it gets hard, like, that is okay and it's part of it, and you have to keep going, and you can't expect it to be this beautiful walk in the park with butterflies and rainbows. Like, for me to get to this point, I had so many ups and downs. I wanted to quit so many times. I wanted to quit. I felt like I couldn't do it. I was fearful. I was doubtful. I was worried of judgment. I didn't know what people saying about me. And it's just like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going because you don't know when your time's going to come. And it's not for you to know. It's going to come when you're ready. That's all you need to know, is that it will come when you are ready. And that's what this book so perfectly outlined. So this is your sign. Keep following your passions. Do what you love. Take charge of your life. Create a life you love. You are who you choose to be. Put in the work to become someone you're proud of, who you love, who you respect, who you admire. You are not trapped. You are never trapped. You have every single tool in your toolbox, which is just within you in your heart, to become any single person that you want to be on this planet while you're here on earth. And don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. You are empowered. You are capable. You are able. You have no limits. So for the affirmation for this episode, it says, I put in the work to become someone I am proud of. I put in the work to become someone I am proud of. I love you guys so much. There's so much life to live. This episode really just hyped me up. There's just so much life to live. We're here to love, enjoy, learn, and evolve. Okay? It doesn't need to be so serious. Do what freaking makes you happy, obviously, like within reason, okay, to be able to live comfortably and also not, hurt others in the process. But zoom out your perspective. Zoom out your perspective, people. Don't get so caught up in what people are thinking or what it comes off to be, what your parents are telling you to do, what you should be doing. Listen to your heart. Come back to yourself. Listen to your purpose. Listen to your passions. Listen to like where your soul's telling you to go. And I'm telling you, that is where you will find the life of the most peace, joy, fulfillment, alignment. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the beauty is. That's where the effortless living is. I love you guys so much. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really loved this one. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching or listening. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.